This is my copy of The Weirdstone of Brisingamen by Alan Garner, which I've had, I don't know how long. It's got one of those plastic library covers on that I'd still like to cover all my paperbacks in, but that's a bit weird, isn't it? Right, I'm going to read some of this in situ. It was strange to find an inn there on that road. Its white walls and stone roof had nestled into the woods for centuries, isolated, with no other house in sight. A village inn without a village. Colin and Susan came to it after a mile and a half of dust and wet tar in the heat of the day. It was named The Wizard, and above the door was fixed a painted sign which held the children's attention. The painting showed a man, dressed like a monk, with long white hair and beard. Behind him a figure, in old-fashioned peasant garb, struggled with the reins of a white horse, which was rearing on its hind legs. In the background were trees. "I wonder what all that means," said Susan. "Remember to ask Gowther. He's bound to know." They left the shimmering road for the green wood, and the wizard was soon lost behind them as they walked among fir and pine, oak and ash and silver birch, along tracks through bracken and across sleek hummocks of grass. There was no end to the peace and beauty. And if you do that, the microphone won't pick me up. Jeremy, bring it back. You're ruining it. And then, abruptly, they came upon a stretch of rock and sand from which the heat vibrated, as if from an oven. To the north, the Cheshire plains spread before them, like a green and yellow patchwork quilt dotted with toy farms and houses. Here the edge dropped steeply for several hundred feet, while away to their right the country rose in folds and wrinkles until it joined the bulk of the Pennines, which loomed 8 miles away through the haze. The children stood for some minutes, held by the splendour of the view. Then Susan, noticing something closer to hand, said, "Look here, this must be one of the mines." Almost at their feet, a narrow trench sloped into the rock. "Come on," said Colin, "there's no harm in going down a little way, just as far as the daylight reaches." Gingerly, they walked down the trench and were rather disappointed to find that it ended in a small cave, shaped roughly like a discus and full of cold, damp air. There were no tunnels or shafts. The only thing of note was a round hole in the roof about a yard across, which was blocked by an oblong stone. "Huh," said Colin, "there's nothing dangerous about this anyway." All through the afternoon, Colin and Susan roamed up and down the wooded hillside and along the valleys of the edge, sometimes going where only the tall beech stood, and in such places all was still. On the ground lay dead leaves, nothing more, no grass or bracken grew. Winter seemed to linger there among the grey-green beeches. When the children came out of such a wood, it was like coming into the garden from a musty cellar. In their wanderings, they saw many caves and openings in the hill, but they never explored further than the limits of daylight. Just as they were about to turn for home after a climb from the foot of the edge, the children came upon a stone trough into which water was dripping from an overhanging cliff, and high in the rock was carved the face of a bearded man, and underneath was engraved, "Drink of this and take thy fill, for the water fills, water falls by the wizard's will." "The wizard again," said Susan. "We really must find out from Gowther what this is all about." Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we've come out, we're at Alderley Edge in Cheshire for an afternoon out, our annual trip out. And here's Jeremy doing the annual fighting with the parking machine. Oh, because we're not National Trust members, are we? What do we have to do?
3 hours is £5.
Do that, because it's sunny. We're not racing. Anyway, we do this every year. I think I said in a video recently, every end of September for the last 4 years. We've come and done this day out, and it's usually the day before. In fact, it's always the day before I begin my new book, usually my new Doctor Who book of the autumn. and that's been a really fun thing to do the last 3 years, to have a tramp about in the woods. And it began because I was writing The Return of Robin Hood, and I wanted to walk about in the woods, and these are the best local ones I know of. And it's just carried on. We're a couple of days late this year because it poured down on the actual last day of September. It poured it down, and so we've swapped days. We looked ahead and saw that today, Wednesday, which is the 2nd of October, is going to be much nicer. So it doesn't really matter. We're here and it's sunny. And have you paid the car park? Well, no, 3 hours.
More than 3 hours.
No, that's fine. Most of the day's gone. Most of the day's gone because we've been to the town already and scoured the charity shops and bought coffee and bought pasties and pies and cakes from the really nice bakery that's there, which they tell us is a one-off now. There used to be 3 brothers and they had bakeries in Cheadle, Cheshire and Alderley Edge, and they've all stopped apart from one fella, and they do the fanciest cakes. Everything's expensive, really, but it tastes and smells amazing, and they look like, the whole place looks like bakeries did when we were kids, before they turned really horrible. Most bakeries in the UK aren't what they used to be. Greg's has turned a bit rubbish. And you know, you get the same 2 or 3 names predominating everywhere. Can't believe I'm reviewing cake shops for you when I should be talking about mystery and kids books and fantasy and goblins. We'll get to that, I promise. Lead the way, Jeremy. Which path are we taking? Have you decided? There's distinct pathways, and every year we get it wrong, don't we? And end up just getting lost.
And you got it wrong, particularly one here.
Yeah.
You walk us up a cliff face.
Yeah, that was the first year we came. It was so exciting. We got really lost and went the frightening way. Or was it just that it was hard work?
It's quite
Arduous.
vertical.
It was just after lockdown, wasn't it? We're getting used to having days out again. Now this is going to be really muddy, isn't it? That's the Wizard pub, which is mentioned in Alan Garner's Weirdstone of Brisingamen. We went to it once when it was a fancy pub doing really expensive Sunday lunches, and then during lockdown we went and it was just a cafe at the back where they would shove a coffee at you out of the window, make you sit in the garden, and there was really aggressive signs saying, "Take home all your rubbish, throw everything out, wash yourselves." It's quite unfriendly. Don't know what it is now. I hope it's gone back to being somewhere nice.
It looks like it's still the aggressive cafe and the pub.
Everywhere's aggressive nowadays.
Pub's still shut.
Now watch out for the mud. This is, whoops, apart from the mud, perfect kind of weather for going about in the woods.
Are you going to be influencing on the whole walk?
Are you going to be sarcastic on my YouTube channel? Because I suggest you get your own channel if you want to do that. You want to go and be sarcastic. I bet it was you that left that comment that said I was really tedious.
That was Panda.
Panda's not on my channel.
What? Oh.
People will think you're crazy if you start talking in the voice of Panda. Where is Panda? Where? Eating the cakes in our picnic. Oh no.
These new outfits.
Yes, very good. can't escape. My idea that I hatched this morning when I thought about doing this video for today, which might well turn out to be quite a long video by the time it all gets put together, is to do more readings in situ, in places that things were either written or places that they're about. And I've got a whole list that I'd love to do, like Wuthering Heights in Haworth on the moors, or when we go to Whitby in December, reading a bit of Dracula, or Never the Bride, up at the Abbey or at the church. There's all kinds of places and things I'm thinking about doing now, because of course where we are is right in the middle of a whole lot of books. This is going down, that's not where we want to be.
Up there.
Okay. Thanks, Panda. Thanks, Jeremy. Don't fall. Oh, that's my knees. No, it was a twig. It wasn't really my knees. I think this comes out at the wider bit of the edge. When we get there, we can have our picnic. Although we've drank our coffee already. We have pasties and cakes. That's Jeremy toiling along behind me. And here it is. We found the actual inscription. What does that say? Is it something? Oh, I think it's something rude. And there's the trough. Jeremy, drink that. Where's the face? Am I being daft?
Yeah.
Where?
There. See where his nose flat there.
Oh, that's horrible. That's scary. Yes, you're right. That's why they were all screaming. Because it's a bit frightening. Oh my god, it's the wizard! I love these bits where it's so steep. I don't know if that'll look steep on camera, but it really is if you try and run up and down these. The other thing it's like, as well as being at home down the burn, where I played when I was a kid, it's also like every Doctor Who story in my head. It's like Pyramids of Mars and Castrovalva, State of Decay, all those stories. And those places and those woods were trapped in books, in target books. And running about in the woods made you feel like you were taking part in those stories. Now, if we slither down the hill on this mud and we're never heard from again, I hope somebody finds the video, like the Blair Witch Project. I think Jeremy's adopted a dog. Go on, go home. God, the apple pie was the best thing ever. It was even better than the hominy pie.
Oh, he's back.
He's not coming back
That
again.
way. Reach back.
You're obviously the best, Jeremy, at throwing the ball. Oh no, she's got to come and take him.
Take the ball the other way. No, you're going to go that way. That way.
He's having a right laugh. He's exhausted. Oh, who's this one?
Hello. Hello.
What it really makes me laugh is being laying out down the burn in the trees. That's what we always did. And it was just like this, maybe on a slightly smaller scale. This is quite impressive, especially this view now of Manchester in the distance across Cheshire Plains. This is one of the vantage points. I forget what this one's called. I forget. Ooh, don't go over the edge. I really don't like heights. I don't know what I'm doing. I fell off a 3-foot stage and I was messing about with the camera. So I don't know what I'm doing now. We're level with the tops of the trees. What are you looking at now?
Nothing. Just a rock.
You have no magic or mystery about you. Do you remember Jamie's story about being here? When he was a kid, the whole class came out and they stood around hearing about the legends, and an old man came jogging past in a tracksuit, and somebody apparently started the whisper, the rumour, that it was a wizard in a tracksuit, and he was jogging along this pathway towards them, and somebody started screaming, don't know who, but the next thing they were all screaming. I think it was Jamie.
It's a wizard!
And he came jogging past them and everybody screamed.
Screamed and scattered.
I love that story, it's so silly. About 1,000. There he is. Oh, I think this is an important bit of it, isn't it? An important bit for the story. There's some bit with the wizard's well. I should have looked properly to find out where everything is, because I forget. But really, I just like the sounds. This is from the very beginning of the Garner book, The Legend of Alderley. At dawn, one still October day, in the long ago of the world, across the hill of Alderley, a farmer from Mobley was riding to Macclesfield Fair. The morning was dull but mild. Light mists bedimmed his way. The woods were hushed. The day promised fine. The farmer was in good spirits, and he let his horse, a milk-white mare, set her own pace, for he wanted her to arrive fresh for the market. A rich man would walk back to Mobley that night. So, his mind in the town, while he was yet on the hill, the farmer drew near to the place known as thieves' hole. And there the horse stood still, and would answer to neither spur nor rein. The spur and rein she understood, and her master's stern command, but the eyes that held her were stronger than all of these. In the middle of the path, where surely there had been no one, there was an old man, tall, with long hair and beard. "You go to sell this mare," he said. "I come here to buy. What is your price?" But the farmer wished only to sell at the market, where he would have the choice of many offers, so he rudely bade the stranger quit the path and let him through, for if he stayed longer, he would be late to the fair. "Then you go your way," said the old man. "None will buy, and I shall await you here at sunset." The next moment he was gone, and the farmer could not tell how or where. The day was warm and the tavern cool, and all who saw the mare agreed that she was a splendid animal, the pride of Cheshire, a queen among horses, and everyone said there was no finer beast in the town. But no one offered to buy. A sour-eyed farmer rode out of Macclesfield at the end of the day. Near Thieves' Hole the mare stopped. The stranger was there. Thinking any price was now better than none, the farmer agreed to sell. "How much will you give?" he said. "Enough. Now come with me." By 7 firs and golden stone they went to Stormy Point. That's where we had our coffee and saddle bowl, and there they halted before a great rock embedded in the hillside. The old man lifted his staff and lightly touched the rock, and it split with a noise of thunder. At this, the farmer toppled from his plunging horse and on his knees begged the other to have mercy on him and let him go his way unharmed. The horse should stay. He did not want her, only spare his life. That was enough. The wizard, for such he was, commanded the farmer to rise. "I promise you safe conduct," he said. "Do not be afraid, for living wonders you shall see here." So we've had our picnic and we've given people directions to the stone circle, even though we've got completely lost ourselves. This is one of my favourite bits, this wooded bit. This really is like being in an adventure. It goes quiet around you. Jeremy says I have to point out how many English oak trees there are. And having said that, I can't see any more now. There's ash and birch. Is that an oak there? Squinting at things. Anyway, there's lots of oaks around. See the leaves on the floor. That's Jeremy over there having a fag and a keg. Hello. Where do you suppose we're going to come out? Blackpool? Oh no, I hope not. Oh, Jeremy, it is. It's that field. We've clearly gone wrong and ended up at somebody's house. Should we turn back?
Do you want to become that way?
Well, it was good. It was fun. But now we're lost in the woods. He's going to be furious if he doesn't get his cakes. Path becomes a little bit more perilous. Jeremy's having a fag and carrying a big bag of cakes on his adventure. Here's a slippy bit. Well, that's all I'm going to do for filming today from Alderley Edge. We're going to be here a bit longer and then maybe going to town for some coffee, more coffee. Anyway, see you again soon in the next episode. I'm not looking at the camera. Now I am. There's Jeremy. Okay, bye-bye. Oops.